and I will say it's not much different than last time. It was not I didn't expect them to do testing, which is why I had to do it on my own. Um, and then they have to decide what they want to do from here. It was because I'm always trying to read people. I wanted to one of the things I wanted to see as far as like honesty and involvement in like a cover up or somebody trying to get one over because they think I'm a stupid. Um, the representative that I've been emailing with appears to not have much. She didn't know what to expect, is what I believe, right? Uh, Almost as if I can't say for sure, but you come to make expectations based off of communications, right? And one of my issues is I have trouble communicating. So she may have been expecting something crazy or worse or whatever. Like I am invalid who's disorganized. My apartment is in a disorganized state because everything has to be inside of plastic boxes or covered by sheets in order to keep the mold dust off. And then I want to comment on, I'm going to do a sidestep for a second and comment on to the Lego sets that I received when I worked at Cox Castle Nicholson. So while I understand that I am responsible for my own shit, right? As a kid, I never had Legos. I didn't really have a desire for Legos. So this whole Lego collection was started as the result of a gift I received when I worked at Cox Castle Nicholson, very conveniently. Almost as if somebody had knowledge of my autism and they knew the Legos grew like the mold grows. So my Lego collection increased from one, just like a mold spore, into what you see today. And it is possible, if these people have done this before, that they know Legos are hard to clean dust off of, and Legos are a good place for mold to be harbored. But I've cleaned every single one of these. I have to clean them again regularly. And my goal is to make display cases, but a lot has to go into it. Like I actually have to paint the display case to keep the mold spores from attaching to the natural wood. So that's a work in progress. But if mold was not being fed, you don't even have to feed it water. It's humidity. When humidity is over 50%, black mold starts multiplying instantly. Right now we have 52% humidity. I have to get the humidity down. Otherwise, everything in here is going to have a nice new layer of dust. It's dependent on how many times I wash my dishes, how many showers I take, how many times my front door opens, how many times my refrigerator door opens. It's all dependent on that. And one of the things that would make it easy for them to say that it was me is if I had a cockroach problem, right? They could just say, you're filthy, you're disgusting, look, you have cockroaches. I don't have a cockroach problem. So you have to fix this because it's coming from within the building. It's not in my apartment. I clean regularly. I do. As lazy as I am, when I go to work, my work desk is dust free until the end of the day. By the end of the day, I have to clean it again. My 20-year-old keyboard, I went through with a piece of tape and picked everything out. It's cat hair. That's it. So I do a pretty good job of keeping my stuff decent. It is an enormous amount of belongings that I should not. It has gotten to the point where the stuff it makes it hard to clean. I have a system in place. Everything's on wheels. I go from one corner to the next. I push everything from one corner, clean, 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 push it to the next. And then there was a comment made as if they wanted to say that I am the problem. I understand the airflow issue, which is why everything is on casters. There's like a inch or 2 inches of space between every single thing, the back wall and the floor. And I do run fans pretty constantly. The position changes. I have an oscillating fan. I have a ceiling fan. I have a Canon fan. I have a handheld portable fan that I use, 3 handheld portable fans that are used to control the airflow in certain areas when there is no airflow. But I have to be careful because when I put the fans on the certain areas where I know that there's mold growth or dust, my cat will tell me. She will tell me immediately, like, don't do that one, right? As soon as I put it on. So that's why there's HEPA filters on the back of all of my fans. Not all. I have the 2 little ones that are blowing air from what is presumed to be a spore-free environment. Presumed, kind of, but I showed you what the blades of the fan look like. So the little fans do even have HEPA filters that I will put behind them so that they can catch anything that's moving in the air. That's the only reason my apartment is in the condition that it's in, is because I'm using HEPA filters over everything to keep it so that I'm catching anything that becomes airborne. There is airflow. I have a pole. I don't know if they saw or noticed, but there's a pole in my apartment, and I have a fan that I can adjust the angle, and that fan moves from one spot on the pole to another spot on the pole, and it makes sure the air in my apartment is not stale. It makes sure the air is moving. There is it's going to be very hard to blame me for the rotted floor. I have a text message from the on-site manager not too long ago where he mentions the space beneath me had flooded. If the space beneath me has flooded, does that mean that there's water in between my apartment and the space beneath me? Or maybe the water created a mold issue? Where did the water even come from? I have not had them have to come and fix plumbing in my apartment. The plumbing issues stem from the apartment above me. They've had to come in to fix water coming from above me. If it was a water issue in my apartment, I have made every time I notice anything that has the potential to damage my unit, I make note of it. I complain. It's a complaint because when I lived here under Concord management, I never had these issues. I would be able to organize better if I didn't have to have sheets over everything. I cannot use certain hangers. Right now, there's an area that is just like populated a mold fucking infestation because I use velvet hangers. And the velvet hangers apparently have contracted mold. So I have to now vinegar the hanger, vinegar everything. Vinegar, 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 vinegar. Throw the hangers out. Who's paying for the new ones? The best I can do is control humidity in my apartment, control dust. They need to fix the source, the problem that's feeding it. It's not just it's not just abatement. It's remediation. You have to rebuild the sole plate in either the apartment above me or my apartment. The one thing that was concerning to me is the guy that has the moisture meter. You come at the time, this is probably the least humid time of day, on the least humid day of the week, right? It's very strategically picked. So when you do the humidity meter, like if you come here at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're going to have a hard time breathing. Overnight, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., humidity is the highest. That's when mold is growing without being fed by any active leak.
50% mark. You can't lose if you're above the 50% mark. That is the magic
So
line, right? And El Sayed, at least over the
I made sure they could see I have a steam cleaner. Steam kills mold. That's why I'm still here. I'm still okay.
where things stand,
Steam kills mold. I don't know if they heard or saw the UVC lights that I have. That kills surface mold. That's the reason my bathroom is all right. I use a UVC light to kill the mold in my bathroom. Right now, I will be putting the UVC lights in the closet area to take care of whatever it is over there. It is. It's not just an issue about the airflow. That has a lot to do with it. It does, which is the reason why I have 10 fans. Because I'm Japanese, I understand kenki or whatever it is, kenkai, something like that. It's the act of removing the stale air from your apartment daily.
And this number right here is 500.
So that air back there doesn't sit there for 24 hours. Never. Almost never. I don't think ever. Because I have a fan from my kitchen that I angle so that it blows air from the kitchen around the apartment in a cyclone. It gets picked up by the ceiling fan. So the air that's moving then gets a little push from the ceiling fan, and then it gets a push from I'll call it my zip line fan, right? The zip line fan, I angle up and down. When I angle it down and it's pointing straight at the ground, that is pushing air underneath every single item that I have on casters. So you cannot tell me the air is stale. You cannot tell me the air is stale. Everything is on casters. And then I have a fan that pushes air underneath everything to make sure that my floor is dry. Also, to make sure that my floor stays dry, I have a diatomaceous earth mats next to the building reinforcements because I feel like the sealant on the building reinforcements is also gone. So there should, due to the diatomaceous earth mats, I should not, what is it called? It's like the barrier. It's it is the waterproof barrier from the windowsill. That's deteriorated completely. The building's old enough for them to have to completely replace it.
To answer your question, she clearly overperformed the polls.
They have to fix this. So currently, right now, they have a Santa Monica lawsuit. And I wonder if the same guy with the moisture meter went to check the Santa Monica building. I wonder if he went to check, what's her name? Rachel, her last name starts with an M, also sued them from their, it's like a Rowena, from their Rowena residence.
This is the most recent polling. If you get Stevens-Rogers matchup, now granted, this is
in addition to them making an attempt to say that it's due to how my apartment is, the state of my apartment. I don't know if I can get him to testify. I didn't record it, but there was a plumber. One of the last times they had to come and fix my plumbing, there was a plumber who told me that they've provided a quote to Drake regarding repairing the plumbing. These plumbers are tired of coming to your residence and not fixing the actual issue. He told me their company has provided an estimate, possibly even more than one, and no action has been taken, which is why they don't want to come service this address. I have a feeling that they know the real cause of the water issue, which makes them not want to come here even more. The guy seemed to be an honest worker who didn't want to take fault for faulty workmanship, right? Like, his hands are clean. He left and he didn't leave me with issues, right? The only thing that he left was the access panel with large gaps in it, but I fixed that, right? Because the access panel with large gaps was designed, I don't know if it was his intention, but a large gap in an access panel where there's water issues, that leads to roaches in your apartment. So I made sure I sealed that shit up.
You're from New York. You live here. If I had told you in 2010, I know where this is going.
If they're going to put in an access panel, I would like them to put in a proper access panel and not one that has mismatched chunks of the wall taken out with big old gaps for roaches and rodents to get through.
When you sort of say, you know, this is going to
So
lead to that, and
that's one thing we didn't get photos of. We should.
Well, it's interesting we talk about
But
that, because I see
for
the
now,
comparison.
my apartment remains relatively roach free. There's no eggs. They don't come here because the humidity is too low. My bathroom humidity is 35%. Inside my bathroom, it's 35%. Inside my apartment, it's on average around 46, 48. Right now, it says 52. I might have to reset the meter. But in an effort, right? If I don't have mold all over my personal belongings, there's not necessarily a problem. The problem is the fact that there's mold that is randomly appearing on humid days. The problem is that there are areas where mold has developed and settled based on like 12 hours of no attention to a leaky bathtub. That was what happened previously. It took 12 hours for them to get the rooter in, right? Between the time the tub had crested and the time that the plumber got here. It took like an hour or so after the plumber got here for them to finally push the rooter in and clear the clog. In that 12 hours, the first 30 minutes, there's mold that's growing. The water's just sitting there. Everything's getting soaked. There's mold that's growing. So another thing I want to bring up is how many other units in this building have had as many water issues? How many other units in this building have had as many water issues as I have? So right now, I reset the humidity meter. We're at 50%. What's that say? 50%.
A lot are still hopeful. They still think he's going to pull it out, and you feel that, but there's not so sure.
So as long as I keep it at 50% or below, I don't have a breathing problem. When it gets up to 53%, breathing problems start. When it's below, it went down to 49. 49 and 48, I feel safe. If I could get it to 48%, it feels safe. But to know that it's still growing under the floor. Each time I get out the shower, if I do not dry off completely 100% in my bathroom, one drop of water from my body touching the floor makes mold start growing immediately. It should not be like that. It should not be like that. The fact that a wild mold spore, whether it's from a shoe, whether it's from the ground, wherever it came from, like a little cluster of mold spread to a sheet and created like a goober, looks like a booger spread. When you touch it, it's kind of crusty. And as humidity changes, it grows and it moves. It moves with the direction of the airflow. So with or without airflow, there's going to be a mold problem. The moisture meter is not ideal. You need to come with a mold test kit so then you can take action. It's not your response. It is, though. Open up the access panel, put a piece of tape in there, pull it out. Remediation.
One of the more diverse crowds that I have seen covering any campaign, and he's tried to tout that.
I don't necessarily care if it's a piece of drywall, a full piece of drywall, or if it's an access panel. I think the access panel is helpful because of how many times it's overflowed, right? It makes it easier for them to go in there. But knowing that there's black mold up there and that access panel is not airtight, if somebody, like, every time someone opens their door, there's mold spores coming from the access panel into my bathroom, into my apartment. That's how they got into my closet. It was the month of leaving that access panel open, and what's directly like downwind of it, the area where my motherfucking hair products were. And that just started a whole fucking shit.
Is it just a frustration? Is it a frustration at the Democratic establishment?
So I'm glad we got that covered up. I'm glad I discovered it. Oh my gosh. And then the guy tried to tell me the UV light. I understand nanometers. That's why I very specifically told you 395 nanometers. I have a 350, a 330 nanometer UV light, and they don't show the mold. They don't show the mold because it's not the right spectrum, wavelength. I have a light that's the proper wavelength that shows me where mold is. He says it could be a protein, it could be a this, it could be a that. No, the places I'm showing you on my couch, that's where the heels of my feet hit the couch, and I walk barefoot in my apartment. That's mold. So speaking of that, I'm going to spray some vinegar on it and then clean it. And I'm going to wait to see what they decide. I know he's not going to be happy because he has done this to other people. He's gotten away with this. The guy, the owner, he's not going to be happy to fix it. He's not going to be happy to come out of pocket any kind of money. That's what he has to do, though. I'm not even here being a bitch like all my shit's destroyed. I understand I have a tremendous amount of stuff, so I can't even be mad about shit getting destroyed because I got to get rid of shit anyway. So that's whatever. Fix the apartment. Fix my apartment so I don't have to keep throwing my shit out. Fix my apartment so I don't have to run a dehumidifier. Why is there no ventilation in the bathroom? Because you know there's black mold in the wall. If you put a ventilation into a space that you know is filled with black mold, that would be even stupider than just having an access panel there. Right? And then to tell me I have to leave a window open? No, I don't, because leaving a window open exposes me to the chemicals coming from the stank-ass apartment. I should be able to secure my belongings. Not only that, if the other neighbors have mold, right? If I go check my mail, it takes 2 seconds for someone to walk in and put roaches in my bathroom if they wanted to. So I should not have to keep a window open. You should fix the ventilation. Telling me that I have to keep a window open compromises my security. It affects the humidity levels. Keeping a window open at 3 a.m. is going to make mold grow in my apartment because it's 70% humidity. As if I don't know science. I'm a GATE student, by the way. So even if I don't know it, I'm going to find it out. So combine licensed cosmetologist still to this day, even though the license I have that's posted says 2025, I have a current one. Licensed cosmetologist, worked for law firms, fought for justice for myself for 23 years at least. And I'm still sitting here like this. It's not anger. It's I realize that people think that they can play with people who they think are stupid and that they can get away with this with. Why does the Los Angeles Housing Department have a schedule of how much you have to pay your tenants? I didn't sit here waiting for a paycheck. I would have taken $3,000 if this was a problem in the beginning to go somewhere for you guys to fix it. I didn't just sit on top of this. I didn't collect all this shit so that I could get a shit ton of money. I'm not even going to get a shit ton of money. Everything has to be replaced. Those are computer screens that are leased to me, loaned to me from my work. They have mold in them now. I can't give those back to my work. My work laptop has a fan. That has mold in it now. I can't give that back to my work. I can give it back to them, but if they let someone else use it, that's just spreading mold in everybody's shit.
2024. This is far to the left. These ideas are far to the left of the median voter, and Mike Rogers is a very, very strong candidate.
I hope they understand why I had them put plastic bags on their shoes before they walked in here.
I would not support Syed.
Because if I did not have them do that, I will have a whole nother mold issue to deal with just because I had outside shoes that have walked in the hallway, walked through my apartment. I mentioned to them, the mold has spread into my car. How do I know? It's not from my apartment because I don't put the buggy wheels down on the ground in my apartment. My buggy wheels, now especially after I noticed mold in my car, are plastic baggied up. They're sealed, they're put away in a place where I could blow a fan at the box all fucking day long and it's not gonna have a mold spore come out the box. Right, the box may eventually become molded. But for now, that's where I have to put it. Right, cardboard boxes get molded really easy. This is just a temporary solution. They have to really hurry up on this. So, in my free time, in my downtime, I will be disassembling the Legos because that makes it hard to clean the mold. Disassembling the Legos. Imagine if I use this to store my clothes or something, or books, right? All my books would be ruined. It's regardless. It doesn't matter what it is. I could be the cleanest person in the motherfucking world, and the conditions that exist within the walls would give me mold.
The reason this is happening is because
why is there a floor? I could probably lift that floorboard out if I wanted to. I don't. It's not attached to anything in any way. It's quite literally just like an open floorboard. And then he says, oh, it's because the ladder's there. No shit. But the floor shouldn't warp when I walk to my kitchen. That seems like someone who wants to make excuses for their employer. Just because my skin is black, I'm black and Japanese. I'm not Haitian. You guys might have thought I was Haitian. I'm not Haitian. I'm black and Japanese. I may have been a ward of the state, but I was released back to my mother. My mother is a homeowner, a taxpayer. I'm a taxpaying citizen. I go vote. I've been gainfully employed for 20 plus years, 23 years in the same profession, career, right? Maybe took a break here now in between to see if I could do something else. No, I make good enough money doing what I do. I can't necessarily afford a nicer apartment. I can afford to take care of the one that I have. My life would have to change dramatically if I were to move into a different apartment. So, but that's what has to happen in order for them to fix this.
This country is a country of oppression. This country is a country of bigotry. And those things aren't true. We have those problems, of course.
It is the entire bathroom, part of the hallway, the kitchen, and I think the area by my closet now, I've discovered.
Unsatisfactory results in terms
and you can't talk about, I have to go there every day. That's where I keep my underwear. So every day that I take a shower, I got to go back there. It was never like this. That's new. Right? I think about how long has my underwear been in the mold area.
Contrary to the idea that the socialists and the third worldists are promoting.
And to be clear, you're not seeing it.
That's crazy.
Like this referendum, because you just saw what happened earlier tonight.
So fix it. And that's it. That's all I can say.
Julian Epstein, I really appreciate you coming on at this late hour.
It's not angry. I'm not angry. I'm not angry because that's what you guys are trying to make me do. I am I'm fighting for my cat. I watched my cat jump one day and she didn't land on her feet and I thought, what the fuck?
you live. Special election coverage tonight
Fix
here
it.
on News Nation. It's all about the Democratic Michigan Senate primary. It is coming down to the
What I
wire.
think that's sadism.
Not just
Right now I have my cat, and surrounding her cage I have it's like a polyester fabric that hopefully if dust hits it, it will just fall down. And that is, I had to put that up to protect her water, because weeks ago I noticed, like, what is that? It looks like something floated into her water and started
I
growing.
want a younger perspective. I want a Gen Z perspective. Got him right there. Political commentator, author of Make America Talk Again, Brylan Hollyhan. Brylan, good to see you.
Why?
What is your view on what we're seeing tonight? Because so much about
So you cannot have, right now I have an open drink somewhere. Where do I put my drink? In the kitchen maybe? That probably has all kinds of shit in it. Now.
This is a lot closer than we all predicted.
It definitely is. Jesse, on the split screen there, your audience.
That's how dangerous it is.
Go down inside the Democrat Party, and this is why this is a good
So.
night for Republicans. El Sayed, who's still in the lead to be the Democrats.
They gotta fix something.
Didn't spend his last day on the campaign trail talking to Michigan voters about affordability or housing costs or anything like that. He was at a pool party with open communist Hassan Piker, who has said in the past that America deserved 9/11. So typically, just a few years ago, the Democrat Party was able to kind of distance themselves from crazies like this and say, oh, they're just some radical militant squad. Let them have their press conferences, let them sit in their sandbox, but they're not going to go outside of the sandbox. Now they're the leaders of the party. So
the breathing difficulties is very concerning. Once it gets to wintertime and humidity doesn't go over 50%, everything's whatever. I'm worried about neurological challenges, right? As time progresses, I'm worried about the carpet in the building, because that's pests. It's not just mold. The carpet in the building has microscopic bugs. The walls of the building, I have photos of cockroaches on the walls of the external building. I have to get off now because I'm going to send those just so they can see.
That he is not the only progressive candidate, not only one who is